Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor, and today I'm going to talk to you about something that I do in my World Trichology Institute. And whenever a patient or a client or a customer is having hair problems, I like to analyze their strands under the microscope. So one of the things that I do for individuals who can't come into the institute and have a physical hair and scalp analysis in person, I do it by mail with a strand reading. So I want to share that with you today. So if you want to have your strands read, you just go and click on Healthy Hair. We're on my website, and you click on strand reading. Then you're going to have information here. You're going to complete the questionnaire. You're going to send samples of your strands in a Ziploc bag, no paper towel or tissue around it. A picture of damaged area if balding is present, or if there's just really broken areas, you can send a picture. A brief letter to me telling me about your hair and scalp problems, a self-addressed stamped envelope. If you want something mailed back to you, it's really best to put that stamped envelope so that my assistant can send the information back out without anybody having to search for a stamp. So it just makes it convenient for all. So it's pretty quick. Then we're going to of course send in your payment. Now you can pay online with PayPal, and I'm going to click on that and then we'll come right back. So you can go in and you could just order that strand reading and pay for it, and then just send in that code saying that you have paid for that. So you can just click it on, pay for it by PayPal, and you're done. Now let's just go back. Okay, the other part is the questionnaire. Like, you'll have to click on this to download the questionnaire. It'll go right to it. Make sure you fill out everything possible on this questionnaire. Then you can just put your name, your credit card number, and expiration date and send it to my World Trichology Institute, and the address is right below. You can always call to make sure that we received it, but generally we're going to send you an email letting you know we received it. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to just see a little bit about what I do in the strand readings. So let's go to a sample of what I do. All right, this is me here, of course, and these are the strands. Now I'm going to show you two examples if my technology will allow, but this first one is it's already set up, and it's a 50x lens, which allows me to magnify your strands once you send them in to me. I'm able to see all the imperfections, the damage, and I'm just going to describe some of those to you, and I'm going to use my little pointers here to help me. These two areas here and here, that's called layer peeling. Layer peeling is where the strand begins to move away from the body of the shaft and it separates. And here's another one that's layer peeling, this little small one here as well. And they're very challenging to see, but what you'll see with the naked eye, you'll see long strands, but they're very thin. That's layer peeling. Now, what I can see under the microscope allows me to see how that strand is literally separating from your strand. The next one is poor elasticity. Now, we'll use another one of our little pointers to show that. Poor elasticity allows us, and we're going to shorten this one just a little bit. Let's get it up here. Here we are. Poor elasticity is, and this one is really, and I have another image of poor elasticity in a 200x. This is when you're going to begin to have the cortical fibers exposed, and the strand itself is not going to be able to stretch without breaking. Now, most of us don't know when we manipulate our hair, our strands will actually begin to stretch a little bit as we comb it. This one here is also layer peeling. See this piece of hair that looks like a thin piece of nothing, and it's just a layer. And so here's a poor elasticity. This is a clear cut where the individual who sent in these strands cut some of the strands away. So I will know what's the difference between breakage and cutting. So this is just areas where she cut. It'll be very blunt or at an angle. Strand separation is another one that we see all the time. And this is really important because most people who see strand separation, they really think that it's just a split end. But what you'll notice today is that this is in the body of the shaft. So you have strand separation, and then you have what we call texture changes. Texture changes deals with the size of the strand. Most people think of texture, they think of, okay, this is just the way my hair is shaped. But texture actually deals with the size of the strand. So we're seeing texture changes here. If you notice here, the strand is thicker and darker. And you notice here, it's getting lighter and smaller. So you have texture changes. The following one is loss of color pigment. If you look at color pigment here and texture changes, those are both happening there. So you have texture changes and loss of color pigment. Okay, these are some of the things that you see. Now let's see if I can put your next, there we go. But it's going to be a little awkward, so we're going to get rid of this one. And there we are. This is with the 200X. Now 200X, what I'm seeing with this particular one, all of the things that we saw here, but the 200X allows me to see the pore elasticity here, but it also allows us to see some other things. It allows us to see an exposed cortex. So I'm just going to go in and we're going to take these out. And we're just going to put exposed cortex. Exposed cortex is very dangerous when and we're just going to turn all the arrows there for the hair shaft, because your cortical fibers, all the structural changes happen. Say if you relaxed your hair and you went from relaxed to, from kinky to relaxed. Also, there are several things that happen here. You also have your color pigments there. So the color of your hair is determined in your cortical fibers, and as well as your strength bonds. And that's the biggie. And that's why so many women lose hair when they have these areas exposed, because the strength bonds are broken. And when they're broken, then you're going to have a problem with the hair separating, releasing itself, and you lose parts of the strand. So that's why it's like kind of like a rope popping, but what happened, the rope actually separates. So you end up with the hair strand actually separating from the body of the shaft, and then that hair strand, once it does that, then it goes off into its own. So if you look right in here, you have this whole separation. So you may think that's the strand, but that's actually a layer. And you can look in the background. It's not as focused, but you'll be able to see it. Okay, so I'm Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor. I just wanted to share a little bit about what I do and just really help you guys to understand that even though you can't get to me, you can go on my website, lisaakbari.com, and you can fill out a strand reading, and then you can send that in and I'll read your strands. Thanks again. Have a blessed, wonderful day. God bless you. To God be the glory in Jesus.